In this episode of Linux News Log, MySQL Creator launches a campaign to save the database, Opera adds support for HTML5 Video Element, Broadcom Crystal HD video decoder now supports Linux operating systems, and how to mount iPod and iPhones, and Karmic Koala and more distros. QuickSurf Internet Media presents Linux News Log, separating the Linux and open source signal from the noise. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Phoenix, Arizona, here in Studio BR2 at QuickSurf Internet Media in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Season 10, Episode 6. It's the first show of 2010. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the stories for this episode. From Network World, there's a story here entitled MySQL Creator Launches Campaign to Save the Database. Basically, the creator of MySQL has launched a web-based campaign to save the open source database from the clutches of Oracle, which is attempting to purchase its current owner, Sun Microsystems. Oracle announced plans to buy Sun in April for $7.4 billion. The deal has been held up while European authorities conduct an antitrust review, and basically some red tape is holding it up. One of the main concerns with it is, since Sun owns MySQL, what's the future of MySQL since it's an open source database once Oracle owns it, simply because MySQL does a lot of stuff that Oracle does, but for free. This is kind of interesting. Quite frankly, I think it's a little too late. But we'll see what comes of it. Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor for this episode, GoToAssist Express. I want to tell you about a new Citrix online program that will help you save time and money and make you look like a hero to clients or colleagues. GoToAssist Express. It's an easy and secure remote support solution. It's purpose-built for small businesses and professionals who need to support clients. I've been so excited with the release of GoToAssist Express because there's finally a remote support tool that's easy and affordable. Try GoToAssist Express right now, free for 30 days. For this special offer, you must visit gotoassist.com/techpodcast. That's gotoassist.com/techpodcast for a free trial. From Techie Buzz, there's a story. Opera adds support for HTML5 Video Element, new 10.5 pre-alpha build. This is kind of cool. It seems while we were busy celebrating, everybody at Opera Software were hard at work. Opera released a new Opera 10.5 build earlier the day of this particular story, which is January 1st. We featured the major changes in Opera 10.5 and benchmarks its JavaScript rendering speed in earlier articles. The big new feature in the latest build is support for the HTML5 Video Element. Opera has demonstrated the video element as far back as 2007. Now the feature has been integrated into a mainstream build. We'll see how things go as Opera gets a little closer to having a full-on 10.5 release, but this is pretty neat. From GadgetMix.com, there's a story here. Broadcom Crystal HD video decoder now supports Linux operating systems. This is really cool. Broadcom Crystal HD video decoder is one easy way to add HD video capabilities to netbooks that run on Atom processors. Since day one, it supported Windows operating systems, but now support for Linux OS is available. Broadcom has released the driver source code, and it now supports all Linux operating systems with the kernel version 2.6.11 and above. For laymen, this means it would support any modern Linux distro. So, it's not officially supporting Linux in any way. However, you can get the source code if you've got a little netbook or what have you that's got this decoder chip in it, and you want to watch video in Linux, like H.264 or any of the other video codecs. This is it, especially if it's HD. Totally neat. From foxnews.com, there's a story entitled Linux Industry Group Standardizes Desktop Components. In a move to make the freely distributed Linux operating system a stronger alternative to Microsoft Corporation's Windows, a group of major Linux distributors announced Friday they have united on a standard set of components for desktop versions of Linux. The standard created by the Free Standards Group should make it easier for developers to write applications that will work on Linux versions from different distributors. Linux has a firm foothold as any operating system for servers. It's popular for hosting websites, for instance, but only has a few % of the desktop market. Now, the thing that I find interesting about this is there has been people trying to make standardized desktop components for years, and they've been met with a lot of resistance because for whatever reason nobody can seem to agree on a single standard. Red Hat has their way of doing things. Debian has their way of doing things. I mean, you can literally, those are the two major ones, but you can literally go through and just about every distribution, not everything is in the same place on the files. I mean, it's not standardized at all. It really isn't. And there have been organizations, the Free Standards Group, the Linux Standards Base, they've been trying to get this to happen for a long time. So it's good that there's some activity, but as always, there'll have to be some kind of consensus among everybody to actually use that standard, which to date there's been very little traction in that particular area. For our how-to section, I found this article on this website, cgsbay.com, and it's how to mount an iPod or iPhone in Karmic Koala and more distros. For those of you who have iPhones or iPods and also use Linux, well, before it's been very difficult to get your music and movies and such on and off the Play device. Well, this is kind of neat. I just happened to actually stumble across this. I was looking for something else, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is totally cool." Essentially, it walks through. There's a few steps you need to do. It's not totally automatic, but still, nonetheless, pretty neat. Definitely check it out. That'll pretty much wrap up this edition of Linux News Log. As always, everything we've talked about is linked up in the show notes. Just visit us on the web at linux.quicksurf.com. You can watch, listen, and or download the OGG Vorbis feed as well. I got a piece of email that I wanted to share feedback from someone in the audience, from Mr. Charles Azell. If I mispronounced your name, by all means, please correct me. He writes in, "Thanks for the blogging. I enjoy listening in at work from my Ubuntu Mini 10V. Right on. I just wanted to touch base and let you know that it's Susu and not Susi, with the emphasis on the first syllable." And then he's got some pronunciation there. It's named after the German computer engineer Konrad Zuse. I'm completely confused. Anyway, I've been a long time Susu user. I don't know how to pronounce it. And although these days find the Debian distros more amiable than the RPM world, still have a fondness for the green chameleon. Dude, thanks to keeping it going. So anyway, I'm going to have to do some research on this. I know I completely slaughter names like Canonical. People have written in over that. What I'll try to do is I'll see if I can get an online pronunciation tool, and I'll play it here on the show. I've actually heard it pronounced Susi, which is why I even pronounce it that way. Otherwise, I'd be totally slaughtering it, and nobody's complained up until now. But nonetheless, it's worth looking into. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get an official pronunciation and play it back and practice it or something like that. I don't know. But thanks for writing in. have fun with your Ubuntu Mini 10V. I know those are a lot of fun. And with that, I thank you all for listening and watching. Linux News Log is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. So do feel free to head on over to www.techpodcast.com. And if there's anything you like about any of my shows that I host and produce, you'll find other technology shows over there as well. See you then. Next episode.